Hello, I'm Kelly Teal, and I'm excited to share with you the lessons that my husband and I have learned in the 29 plus years of building new homes. Today's topic is how to hide your electronic equipment. The goal is to have only the flat screen TV mounted to the wall with no wires showing and no equipment in the room. We'll break this topic into at least 4 parts: the closet, the wiring, the equipment, and how to control the hidden equipment. In this lesson, Part 1, the closet, we will discuss the basic requirements for the network AV closet and 3 closet design ideas. The most important requirement for a network closet is for the wiring to be home run. That simply means every wire, whether it's Ethernet, coax, HDMI, speaker, or telephone, has a direct line or run back to the network closet. The home run wiring to the network closet is the secret to keeping the satellite receiver and other equipment out of the living room. Next, we need a place to terminate the wires. I use blank patch panels. That way I can choose the keystones, which are also known as modules, and customize it just the way I want it. Custom labels on the patch panel make it easy to know which room the wires are from. We mount the patch panel in a wooden faceplate that is built into the shelf. Because the 8 conductors making the Cat5e wire are solid, not stranded, movement can cause them to break. Therefore, they should be moved as little as possible after being installed. That is why we use the fixed faceplate, so the wires don't move. Patch cords, on the other hand, are made of stranded wire, and that is why they are used in areas where the Ethernet wire will be moved around. Quality Ethernet patch cords are very pliable because their wires are stranded. Here is another picture showing the shelves, the wood faceplate that the patch panels mount to, and the wall access opening, and of course the light. Notice this is my 2nd generation wood faceplate. The patch panels are surrounded by wood on 3 sides, but there is not any wood below the patch panel. My 3rd generation faceplates have wood on all 4 sides of my patch panels. This gives me more area to secure my wires and gives it a nicer appearance. Access doors that open to a wiring cavity with an attic PVC pipe make wiring management and upgrading much easier. We may have 1, 2, or 3 access doors in a closet. The wall cavity that we use for our wiring cavity is 2 2x4 walls stacked with a 1-inch gap between them. So this gives us an 8-inch cavity in which to work with all of our wires. The access doors also make it easy to access the PVC pipe in the wall that extends up into the attic. If there's a basement, we also include a PVC pipe to the basement for easy access to that area as well. The access doors allow us to route the wires out the appropriate portholes to equipment or panels and makes adding new wires and connections a breeze. Our closet needs shelves to set the equipment on, whether they are simple, inexpensive, built-in wood shelves or an equipment rack that holds the equipment. And we need electricity to power the equipment. We usually have at least 3 electrical outlets, each one on a separate electrical circuit. This helps prevent electrical interference in the sound, and it ensures that there is plenty of power in the event you decide to go crazy with the sound system. It's also good to have a light so you can see what you're doing when you work in the closet, and if you have lots of equipment in your closet, you need an air vent to help keep the equipment cool. Here are some dimensions that have worked well on our jobs. While a 1-foot 8-inch wide door works for the closet, I found that to be a little too narrow. A 2-foot wide door is better. With a 2-foot wide door, you could leave the lower 3 wood shelves out and use a 21U or a 32U rolling equipment rack. The closet is usually 20 inches deep. If you use a rolling equipment rack, you may want it 24 inches deep. Our first shelf is 15.5 inches from the floor, second shelf 30.5 inches from the floor, third shelf 46 inches from the floor, fourth shelf is 66.5 inches from the floor. This is a shelf with a patch panel faceplate. Fifth shelf, or the top shelf, is 83 inches from the floor. The electrical outlets are 37 inches from the floor, 55 inches from the floor, and 79 inches from the floor, and they are 12 inches from the back wall. The light switch is 66 inches from the floor to the top of the switch plate, and it's set 17 inches from the back. The wood faceplate for the patch panel The size of the opening is 17.5 inches wide and 1.75 inches for each rack unit needed. For example, if you have two patch panels that are 1 RU or rack unit each, the cutout would need to be 17.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. Now that's just the opening. The height of the wood faceplate, the overall height, I usually add 2 inches for the top margin and 2 inches for the bottom margin. So if your cutout was 3.5 inches, then add 4 inches to that, and you're going to get a 7.5 inch tall board. Make the overall width of the faceplate to fit the width of your closet. Now this wood faceplate, where it mounts, the distance from the back of the closet to the front that it mounts is usually 5 to 6 inches from the back of the closet to the back of the faceplate for a simple patch panel. If you're going to put a rack-mounted piece of equipment in there that has more depth than that, you would need to set your faceplate out further to accommodate the depth of whatever equipment that you were going to rack mount.
Now, let's look at 3 closet designs. Our first closet design is the wood shelf closet. Here's a picture. Equipment shown is a satellite receiver. In this example, only one shelf is dedicated to electronics. The other shelves can still be used for other purposes. Here's another example of the wood shelf closet. This picture shows a satellite receiver on a shelf. Also notice the satellite splitter is mounted on the right-hand side of the wood faceplate. This is before we decided it's best to make these connections inside the wall or wiring cavity. Here is another example of a wood shelf closet that is used a little more extensively for electronics. In Part 3, we will go into more detail on the equipment. Let's look at our second closet design. It's a closet that will be totally dedicated to electronics. Notice the big open space for the 42U rack to sit and easily roll in and out of the closet. The patch panel is mounted on the right wall instead of the back wall. If the rack were stationary and not rolling, we could mount our patch panels in the rack. A roll-out equipment rack is a nice upgrade over the wooden shelves. It makes it easier to access the front, the sides, and the back of all the equipment, which is a very nice feature when wires or equipment are added. Because it is in a closet, you can get the closet advantage of it being out of sight. So you can buy a cheaper open equipment rack instead of the more expensive enclosed rack. And the closet advantage of the access doors to wiring cavities and walls to mount wall-mounted panels like security system panels, the GSM communication module, and or a closed-circuit TV power supply panel for security cameras. Our third closet design is the freestanding enclosed equipment rack, like the 42U by Tripp-Lite, with a hinged front door and removable side panels. It stands 78.5 inches tall, 23.63 inches wide, and 43 inches deep. It weighs in at 280 pounds empty. When you don't have a closet to convert to a network closet, an enclosed equipment rack is a nice option. Is the enclosed rack right for you? Here are some things to consider. Can you home run all the wires to the rack location? Do you have electricity near where the rack will be positioned? Do you have enough space in the room for the rack? And can you afford an enclosed equipment rack? All the metal that is enclosing the rack may interfere with the wireless router, Bluetooth, infrared, and RF transmissions. Those problems are not hard to fix, but they will need to be addressed. If you don't need wall-mounted panels like the security panel or a closed-circuit TV power supply panel, and you don't have a closet you can convert, the enclosed equipment rack is a beautiful option. To summarize the basic network closet needs, all wiring needs to be home run to the network closet. Wires are terminated in a patch panel. Patch panels are mounted in a fixed faceplate. And we need shelves or rack to hold the equipment. We need electrical outlets to power the equipment. We need a light so we can see what we're doing. We need a wall access door to our wiring cavity to make upgrading the wires easy. An attic PVC pipe and a basement PVC pipe. If we have lots of equipment, an optional air vent will be needed to keep the closet cool.